Hello, everyone. I'm Father Scott Vanderveer. And about 20 years ago, I had the experience of working and volunteering at a hospice house in Utica. It's still in operation today. Its name is Abraham House because it was a Catholic parish's attempt to bring together all of the different faith communities of Utica to be able to help those who were in need of full-time care during the last months and sometimes weeks and days of their lives. And so, unlike the kind of traditional hospice that comes into a person's home and brings nurses and social workers right to the bedside of someone who is preparing for their final journey out of life and into new life, there's another model that also works very, very well and is necessary for people who don't have a home to be in as they're dying, or for people who maybe have a home but don't have anyone who could be a personal caregiver. And so if there's no one in a family that could actually provide 24-hour bedside care, and as we can imagine, there are many, many cases where that's a challenge for a family to be able to provide. That means that sometimes folks really need to be in a residential hospice program. Abraham House was meant to evoke the names of the three major religions that make up the Utica area. The Christian religion, who see Abraham as a father, the Jewish faith, which sees Abraham as a father, and the Muslim faith, also which sees Abraham as a father. And on top of that, the house was donated by Dr. Abraham Shaheen, who was a longtime physician in the Utica area. This model of a hospice house is very beautiful and moving for a lot of reasons. But something that I experienced at that hospice house is something that many of you have experienced as well. I experienced people who were in the final stages of their life calling out to loved ones who had passed away long before. I experienced people recognizing their mother coming for them, even though their mother maybe had been dead for 50 years. I heard them calling out the names of loved ones who had died long ago. And many people would have mistakenly assumed that what was happening was some sort of mirage or a hallucination of some sort. People would have said, oh gosh, they really are near death because now they're losing their sense of reality. But that's actually not what was happening. Hospice nurses and social workers and people who've been with those who are near the end of life can tell you that what is happening at a moment like that is that the horizon, which normally separates us from the realm of heaven, the horizon line which makes it impossible for us to see any further toward heaven than we already do, that horizon dissolves and the view all the way to heaven becomes clear. What we're seeing when we see someone have interactions with those who died long ago as they're in extremis and preparing for their homegoing is we are seeing people have connections with heaven and earth at the same time. They sometimes are able to interact with us in the room with them just as they are talking with people in heaven. Sometimes they'll even introduce us. They'll say, like to me one time, somebody said, Scott, I want you to meet my mother. I want you to meet my mother. She's right there. And of course, I couldn't see who was there. But I said, it is so nice to meet you. I've known your child for the past several weeks, and I can't tell you how much I admire your work as a mother. And I've seen the person then relax and feel a sense of rightness, heaven and earth, speaking to each other, engaging. it's a pretty remarkable thing to be with someone who is terminally ill. This comes to mind because we've been talking recently in the readings about the altitude that is needed to see things from a higher perspective. And that when the altitude that we're experiencing is greater, then the horizon line is much farther away. We experience much larger field of vision. The panorama is so much bigger when we're up higher. And faith is what lifts us up higher. When we are with someone who's terminally ill, from a perspective of faith, we can see with them that the horizon is gone, or has at least been extended far beyond where it normally would be. The veil between heaven and earth is lifted. One of the great gifts of seeing someone prepare imminently for their arrival in heaven, one of the great gifts to accompany someone who is at the last stage of the earthly chapter of their journey, is to get to witness how much joy there is in approaching our true homeland. There is so much for us to recognize as a real gift given to us by God, not without its sorrows, not without its pain, not without its fear. So many things in life, so many of the best things that we experience are truly bittersweet. But one author has said, our only real job here on earth is to walk each other home. And walking another person home always provides riches that we could gain in no other way. May you have rich opportunities to be with those you love as they prepare to go home. And may you have others walk with you right up to the edge of heaven, so that we can all grow in our faith and be lifted up by our connection to God and to each other. May God bless you all.